Good evening. We're going to call this meeting to order. City of New Haven Meeting Agenda, Community Development Committee. Meeting can be viewed on the Board of Alders YouTube. Board of Alders New Haven notice. The Community Development Committee will meet in person at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, July 17th in the Board of Alders chamber located at 165 Church Street South. My apologies, Church Street, New Haven, second floor, to hear and act upon the following. LM-2024-0378, the order of the New Haven Board of Alders approving the disposal of a portion of land located on the northerly side of present Pond Lily Avenue and authorizing the mayor of the city of New Haven to execute and deliver any and all necessary documents to complete such conveyance in accordance with the provisions of this order. Next, LM-2024-0438, resolution of the New Haven Board of Alders authorizing the city of New Haven to apply for and accept a grant from the Connecticut Department of Economic and Community Development pursuant to the Urban Action Grant Program in the amount of $5 million for planning and redevelopment and public infrastructure purposes with respect to the Mill River District. LM-2024-0439, resolution of the New Haven Board of Alders authorizing the city of New Haven to apply for and accept a grant from the Connecticut Department of Economic and Community Development in the amount of $876,951,700 for alterations and improvements to the Floyd Little Athletic Center at Hill House School. These items are on file and available for public inspection in the Office of Legislative Services, 165 Church Street, New Haven. Per order, Honorable Carmen Rodriguez, Chair attests, Honorable Michael Smart, City Clerk. If you need any accessibility-related accommodations, please contact 203-946-7651 or 203-946-8582 TTY. In accordance with the City of New Haven COVID-19 guidelines, masks are now optional. Public may send comments to public testimony at newhavenct.gov. At this time, I'm going to ask the makers of the second item come. My apologies. Thank you, Alderman Gate. To my left, can we start introducing ourselves? I am Carmen Rodriguez, Ward 6.
Brian Wingate, Ward 29, Beaver Hills.
Brittany Mabry, Black, Ward 20.
Frank Redenti, Ward 15, Fairhaven.
Thank you. So at this time, the makers of the second item, if we can have you come forward. Authorizing it to apply for the grant. This is Department of Economic and Community Development.
Mill River?
Yes, Mill River, my apologies. Thank you so much for presenting first. Our first item will be heard last. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Michael Piscatelli. I'm the Economic Development Administrator for the city, and I reside at 353 Summit Street here in New Haven.
Good evening, Carlos Azaguirre, Deputy EDA for the city of New Haven. I live at 244 McKinley Avenue. Thank you for having us today. I'm really.
Carlos, before you start your presentation, Mr. Azaguirre, I'd like to acknowledge Vice Chair Douglas has joined us.
Good evening, Alders. Thank you. We're really excited to be in front of you today on this item. This is to apply for and accept $5 million in state funding from via the State Urban Act, which runs through the Bond Commission. We applied for this money in December, and it's really a companion piece to all the work that you and our partners at the state have allowed us to do over the last couple of years on Grand Avenue. There's the $6 million for the challenge grant that we won to redo the streetscape on Grand Avenue, and the sidewalks on Grand Avenue from end to end. There's the River Street MDP, which is the municipal development plan that's in place in River Street, where the Alders have been really instrumental in allowing us to sort of move the ball forward there as well. And so really this is the Mill River district sort of runs in between both Grand Avenue, let's say, and River Street. So it's really that neighborhood in between, and it's a mixed-use neighborhood, primarily light industrial. So I think 10 years ago when we were first most recently studying this district intently, we talked a lot about the jobs in the district and how it had, produced as many items as a Home Depot for your home improvement uses, for example. And that was a real eye-opener for us. But I think 10 years, with the hindsight of 10 years, we sort of see this neighborhood still has some gaps vis-a-vis mixed uses. So really, what we propose to do with some of this funding is really examine sort of new uses like housing in the Mill River District, so mixed use housing in the Mill River District, and maybe extending all the way over to River Street. We also want to potentially use some of this $5 million for property acquisition in the Mill River District. And when we talk about property acquisition, we don't necessarily have a full idea yet on what we necessarily would want to require. But just to give you an example, we have you can't miss those salt piles on Chapel and East Street, right? And though it's a strategic resource for the state of Connecticut and the whole region, that salt. So we understand that in the state of Connecticut relies on that for the salt supply to keep our roads safe. So we realize it's a delicate issue because the state is our partner on so much of this work. So, but how do we find perhaps a better place to put those salt piles, free up that land for mixed-use development, be it housing, be it jobs, open space is a big one as well, recreational space. When we talk a little bit about some of the housing development we might want to do in the Mill River District, East and Humphrey, for example, it's on really the edge of Mill River, I suppose. We own some of that land already. You guys might have come before you in the past with LCI, and but we have not yet developed that for housing. So that might be an area where we would use some of this money to do pre-development work, or get these sites ready for a housing development. And then the other big, and this is all pretty spelled out in the application for the Urban Act funding, which is included in the original submission. We also propose to really extend the Mill River Trail, for which we have a pretty significant section of it done north of Grand Avenue, so running behind Grand Paint over to behind former starter factory. That area, if you've been there recently, we've sort of done it with our community volunteers and with our city plan department, have done a really beautiful job of sort of creating that trail for public access behind that section of between John Murphy Drive and Grand Avenue. But really we want to focus on opening up the Mill River Trail to south of Grand Avenue. So that's taking it from Grand Avenue down towards River Street. And so, as we try to address things like the salt piles there, that would also open up, removing things from the salt piles and finding a better inland location, let's say, for them, getting them off the river, would also allow us to extend the Mill River Trail. So those are just some of the basic ideas that we put out there that allowed us to successfully be awarded this money. So we're here to get your permission to accept the money. It's been awarded, but we have not yet accepted it. So that's a little bit of our pitch. The other thing I should add before I open up for questions is we've already had our first community meeting late in spring at Johnny Martinez School, and it was very well attended. we actually worked off of this deck that's in front of you, which is pretty aspirational, which is why I didn't go page by page on, because it doesn't necessarily pertain to specifics of the grant yet, but this is really what we sort of, the feedback we got from the community. You see Chapel and East here. Again, this is just an early design, but this is where the salt piles currently are. This is like something that, you know, we can currently envision there if we can get a higher and better use out of it. So we had the first community meeting in April. Several of the alders attended. About 25 community members were in attendance, and we plan to go back out to the community in September for our second community meeting on the Mill River Urban Act funding and how we're going to spend this money going forward.
Thank you. Was there one?
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. Is there any matching for the city for this project? Is there any money matching?
The nice thing with Urban Act is there's no required. Is there
No direct match to the grant itself.
Yeah.
We may use some of the funds you allocate under our commercial industrial account, should need be, but this is a direct grant.
Okay. When would this start if it was found movable to the full board and passed? When would the project actually start?
Well, I think the Mill River project, so we've been working on the Mill River project even without this funding, and that's why you see the Mill River Trail the way it is today. That's why you see the property acquisition that we have done in this area already. But I think we're really, so we have a fair amount of the work already moving. We have a consultant helping us with some of these drawings. And this would then, I think, you know, we would want to move pretty quickly on some of the things like property acquisition. We have the sites characterized. We have an idea of which sites, you know, like Humphrey and East, we have some site control already. So we can, you know, we really just need to find a development partner there. We had a partner at one point for the changing conditions of the economy. COVID was right towards as we ran into COVID, and how and the costs have made us, you know, has made the developer have to re-examine it. So I think so. Really, we're this is not a standalone project. This is really building on a lot of the work we're already doing. It just would help us move the ball forward, I guess.
Thank you. I have no further questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Alderman Gay.
Thank you, Madam
Alderman
Chair.
Dent.
How realistic is moving those salt piles and building that? I mean, how much of a challenge is that going to be to get that done?
Not gonna be easy, right? I mean, it's very difficult to site salt piles anywhere in Connecticut. What you see out there, what Carlos was referring to was, New London was now, that port of New London is now used for the wind turbines. So more of that salt ended up in New Haven because they need a place to store it. We've had initial conversations with property owners, with operators that take the salt literally from a truck of Morton salt, like it's Morton salt that comes in on a truck.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting it all costed out right now. Everyone has been very collaborative about this, but it's going to need to be a strategy whereby you can break it up because you really can't have it in one location the way it is now. So the early conversations with the port have been promising, and I think, you know, the picture, you're right outside of one of our schools. Right, so I think everyone understands that this cannot be a long-term solution.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions from colleagues? And Mr. Zuero, you said that it was well received when you went out to community and had the meeting at the school.
Yeah.
That everyone, let me rephrase that. Folks were very excited to see that a plan is coming into the Mill River area.
Thanks. I think, yeah, that's the best way to characterize it. We didn't go in there saying, you know, this is what we're going to do. I mean, I think there's a lot of enthusiasm for you guys as one of your legislative priorities, the affordable housing crisis. So there's a lot of enthusiasm for housing there. There's a lot of environmental justice concerns there. So that open space, new parkland, cleaned up Mill River Trail. So yes, there was a lot of enthusiasm for folks from folks out there, and they really were, you know, so they really put their ideas out there on what they wanted to see. So I think the next meeting will incorporate a lot of what we heard from them, and then talk a little more about some of the things that are more difficult, like the salt piles, like housing, things that are complicated.
Thank you. Alder Douglas?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to piggyback off the chair's question, how involved are the alders for the area?
I would characterize it as very involved. I mean, I think it touches, I mean, up to 5 alders in the Mill River District. If you go up to 10, and if you're counting all the way to Ward 10, and then of course, 14, 15, 16, and 8, right? Because Ward 8, which is where Ward now goes far, well into Fairhaven. So significant amount of interest from the alders. They've been really pushing a lot of this. The Grand Avenue stuff certainly, which we've been in front of you a couple times for, and all the Redentes are, they really pushed us on, to get Grand Avenue squared away. You'll see that work on Grand Avenue start later this year, I believe. So yeah, a lot. I'd say again, there's about 5 alders involved, and we had 3 in attendance. 1 was out on medical, so we had a significant amount of support at the meeting.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you for your time
presentation.
today.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you, alders.
Thank
Keys, right?
Yes.
The projections.
Yeah, this is just a lot of drawings, not a lot of text.
Well, we appreciate those. Thank you. Our next item, we are going to move on the Floyd Little. And those presenters, once you're coming up, if we can get your name and address for the record. And good evening to everyone. Thank you for being here.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Michelle Bonanno, 245 Green Street, New Haven.
Gary Moore, 20 Russell Street, New Haven.
Dr. Madeline Negron, 70 Cabot Street, New Haven, Connecticut.
Mike Carter, 551 Sherman Parkway, New Haven, Connecticut.
Thank you.
And Michael Piscatelli, Economic Development Administrator, 353 Summit Street in New Haven.
Great. So a team from the New Haven Public Schools is here tonight to ask for the permission of the Community Development Committee to move forward with accepting the Urban Action Grant that we applied for the Floyd Little Athletic Center. So what we have here in front of you this evening is a breakdown of the project and what we've asked for. The superintendent will open up a little bit and then I'll take over with some details, but I do want to say that we're really very excited about this opportunity. I have Mr. Moore to my left, and you know that Floyd Little is the home of the very many times over state champions for track, something we're very proud of. So we've been very excited that we can get the city's support on a project that is so important to so many families in New Haven.
So good evening. It's a pleasure to be here with you tonight on this occasion to really talk about this project that I believe will help us as we celebrate James Hill House High School 165th year anniversary. As you know, the school was founded back in 1859, and through this capital investment, I think it's going to give us a great opportunity to continue to afford not only our students at Hill House, but also the many athletes that come across using our facilities, and also realizing that it is a community hub. It's definitely an investment that will go towards giving, again, our kids, our community, just an amazing facility to continue to support those not only athletic endeavors, but also the many events that we know often get celebrated inside of Floyd Little. And I'm going to start this off and then give it over back to Michelle. But in essence, this is a grant award for a total of $8.9 million. We want to extend first gratitude to the New Haven delegation who spent time with us to come talk to us towards the facility, engage in conversations with us about the desperate needs. And I'm just grateful to finally see that we have, again, this opportunity to bring in this project in the amount of that $8.9 million to support, again, not only our students, but our athletes. You're going to hear a little more about the details of the project, but I have to say, as soon as I heard the possibility, I jumped for joy because I know that For example, the fall sports were in jeopardy if we did not have the funds necessary to make some significant repairs to the track starting now this summer. So with that, let me turn it over back to Michelle.
So during the process that Dr. Negron was just describing, that we collaborated with the delegation, worked with the team over at Floyd, who's sort of there every single day, including Coach Moore. We came up with a grant application to sort of envision what a 21st century athletic facility would look like, but also to think about down the road how this facility, which is so important to so many people in the community, can further give back and be the gift that keeps on giving. Floyd Little was first done when I was graduating 8th grade from the New Haven Public Schools, just to bring that for you. You know, the young ladies still good. So we bucketed the ask and thinking about the plan in 3 different ways. The Field House of Tomorrow, which really gets at the concept of 21st century. What do we want to see happening in the Field House 15 years from now? As you all know, during COVID, the Field House served as one of the major community hubs for vaccinating our community. And so we still run the Eyeglass Center out of there. We do a lot of things that are community facing. So although it's known for its athletics and what it contributes in that way, we also care very deeply about how it serves that part of our city. So part of that has to do with reconstructing the track surface. As I said, we have state champions year over year. It's important that they have a safe, modern track facility to be practicing on, but also that we generate revenue from rentals for. Talking about updated concessions and common space so that when we do think about how we can further utilize this as part of the community, we have those areas in place that make it more attractive to be having and housing larger events outside of just athletics. And then of course, upgrading the scoreboard and the life safety systems as part of the overall project. Then we think about state of good repair, and that really has to do with the things that need to be brought to life in terms of the roof, upgrades to the physical plant, updated lockers, safety systems, all of those things that have aged out over time that really need to be addressed to make sure that it is the kind of facility that we can all enjoy. And then we think about the sustainability and the desire for the New Haven community to be green and environmentally conscious. And so what are some things that we can leverage with this funding that we can make sure that we're doing things around preserving water, bathroom upgrades, window and door replacement for energy efficiency, new building management controls that are more efficient so that we are making sure that we're being very conscious about how much energy we're using during the day, LED lighting upgrades so that we're not changing bulbs more consistently. We're using things that are much more energy efficient. So that was important that we framed a part of this project around some of those climate initiatives that are important throughout the larger initiatives that the New Haven Board of Alders and the city care deeply about. So with all of that said, as you can see at the top of the presentation, we did bucket those things and give you a price tag on those. But again, we're here this evening asking for the Community Development Committee of the Board of Alders to accept this funding so that we may move forward very quickly at fast speed with the repairs that are needed for FLAC.
Questions from the committee? Alderman Winke.
Thank you for your presentation. Very, very precise and brief. When will this project start?
Yesterday.
Yes,
So that,
yes.
when would it complete?
So that would be hard, but I think Mr. Piscatelli and I and the superintendent, we've been talking about this. So we do have an urgent need in order to do fall sports. So assuming that the Board of Alders accepts this money and it goes to full board, we would be working very diligently to start.
So there's no match to this, I think. There's no city matching to this particular money. I don't want to hold it up. That's why I asked you. Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm done.
Thank you. Alderman Dente, Mr. Piscatelli, you were going to share?
Just briefly, so this would be set up as a special fund on the city's account, and we'll work on an interagency agreement so that we can move fast to the point of fall sports. Well, we did mention at the gate, but it would be helpful if you consider discharging this item, recognizing the speed to market here. And we had not brought that up previously, but it helps a little bit just because it'll save us a little bit of time on when you actually vote it out.
Alder Wingate, follow-up question?
No, it's gonna be a comment
Okay.
to you, Madam Chair, but I will hold that for discussion.
Yes, we will hold that for discussion. Thank you.
I will
Alderman
hold mine for
Duncan.
discussion as well.
Okay, we will hear questions and then we'll save comments. Any other questions? Alder Douglas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just curious, always been curious about the generation of revenue from the use of that facility. Where are we at with that? I noticed that, that a lot of out-of-town entities use the facility. Does it generate feasible revenue?
So I don't have the numbers in front of me, but the basic answer is yes, it does generate revenue, but that revenue basically is turned back in and invested inside of the athletic center and things that support the facility, the bulk of it.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you very much.
Any other comments from
I have a question.
Alderman Dente?
Thank you,
Follow-up
Madam
question,
Chair.
and
Just to
then-
follow up on Alder Douglas' question, has there ever been any thought of bringing maybe bigger ticket events to the field house?
Yes, that was part of the planning for the field house of tomorrow, is to think about the kinds of surfaces and things that we're putting in. So also inclusive here is a floating basketball floor that we would be able to remove. We've thought about how we could deal with other youth sports. Baseball is a big, big thing. Obviously, we would never be equipped to do like full-scale tournaments, but practicing, things like that. We do recognize that is conferences, so thinking through the space, so that long-term part of the concession planning and the smaller community spaces that we would be planning for this would all be to think for the future of the field house. So yes.
Yeah, especially now seeing that the Westville Bowl is having their little AXS crisis. You know, being a sports official who's officiated in that building since its inception, I can tell you the floor is rocked, and if they fix that floor, you could get a lot of money off the basketball tournament. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Alderman Gay?
Yeah, my apologies. I just wanted to say thank you for all the hard work that you've been doing in keeping us like really relevant with the track stars.
The stars.
Right?
The girls this year.
Thank you, thank you.
It's in the blood.
I apologize. Thank you so much.
So if there are no other questions, we thank you for your presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, do 2 items we heard last night.
Are there any questions on the 2 items we just heard from the public? For a second time, is there anyone from the public wishing to testify on these items? And for a third time, is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on these items? We can take a 5-minute recess at this time.
Reset.
All right. I'm going down there. I'm going to North Carolina. This week. Next Saturday.
The other bees?
Oh, wow. That's
Virginia.
you in the West?
Yeah.
All right. Wow. Wow. Hey, that's all right. That's all right. I'm gonna go ahead and run that away.
That's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. Go have some fun, man.
And it comes with like acres of wonder. I never heard of underwater acreage before. That property on the front comes with like serious underwater acreage formation beds. We're at the first zone. No, the other one at 263, the Fairhaven Oyster Company.
Oh, right.
Right to the right of Wacoma.
The record, I gotta quit.
Oh, that's.
Who owns it now?
2 million. Steve Miller represents.
Yeah, but I have a t-shirt, just a t-shirt. I couldn't bring myself.
Yeah, 'cause the dynamic now is what is a
I just have a
lot.
t-shirt. I couldn't bring myself to go along like that. I could not. But I was there. I was there. I heard it.
Randy Sherry. She's out. They'll let me know. Building a south.
I couldn't bring myself to. I was right.
Right, we are. We're gonna call this meeting back to order.
Mhm.
Name and address for the record.
Barbara Montalvo, 25 Evelyn Road, Derby, Connecticut, 06018. I am sitting in on behalf of our CAO department who had submitted this item. This is the Pond Lily easement. This is an item that was requested from the State Department of Transportation. They're requesting an easement of a certain amount of space here, and they've submitted an agreement that they have written up for rights of way in regards to a portion of land at Pond Lily Avenue. And they are requesting this in order to build an electric vehicle charging station for their electric vehicles in their fleet. And they have offered to purchase the northerly side of Pond Lily Avenue to facilitate this project. The price they are quoting for the 2,159 square feet of land is $4,875, and this is based upon the state's estimate of compensation. In order for us to be able to move forward, we do need to have legislative approval from the board, and that is why this item has been submitted. And there's a full copy of the information that as far as the agreement that the state submitted with your submission information in your packet.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Montalvo. So,
Question.
any questions?
Yes,
Alder Douglas.
thank you, Madam Chair. That property, is the state using that now? They're using that property.
I believe they are using that property, but they're seeking permission to purchase that portion from us.
Bless you. And number part two, and there's no other, anyone else trying to acquire that property? Bless you.
I do not have a firm answer on that, but I will be able to double check. At present, there was no information about alternate buyers in the package. There was only information about the state.
Do the chair think we should check with the alder? See, if I heard something.
Okay. Okay.
Somebody was trying to buy the property. Through you, Madam Chair.
Not a problem. If you can provide that information to us, that would be greatly appreciated.
We will confirm the address for the 2,159 square feet in question is 140 Pond Lily Avenue, and we will confirm that no one else is attempting to purchase 140 Pond Lily Avenue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That is the only question. Any other questions from colleagues? No?
Thank you, Ms. Stefano.
Thank you so much, Ms. Montalvo.
Thank you very much for your time, and we will get you that answer as soon as we can.
Thank you so much. Okay. Is there anyone from the public wishing to testify on this item? For a second time, is there anyone from the public wishing to testify on this item? And for a third time, is there anyone from the public wishing to testify on this item?
I move we close the public portion.
Second.
The item has been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Abstention. So before us, we have three items. We can. Alderman Gay?
I move that we move the first item.
Second.
The item has been moved in and seconded. Discussion.
Madam Chair.
Alderman Gay?
No, I don't see any issues with this. I think if we get Alder Douglas information, I think this will be fine. For me, anyway, I thought it was a good idea to get the fleet up to par 2024 status with electric vehicles.
Okay, so going back, you're correct. You are looking for the first item over at Pond Lily.
Yes,
Okay.
I support it.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, we need to vote on that item, so.
Correct. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We are now going to move to The second item, Mill River District.
Madam Chair, I'll move the item.
Second.
The item has been moved in second. Discussion. Alderman Gay.
Madam Chair, I think this is a wonderful opportunity for that district. I believe it's 5 alders that's involved with that particular project, but the Mill River been sitting around forever. And we have some money, some opportunities to do something that been supportive for us for affordable housing and different mixed use. I think it's a wonderful project that is greatly needed. And, you know, I know they're gonna have some challenges moving that sand, but that's not what we have to worry about. We gotta get this money to the, so I'm in favor of this.
Thank you, Alderman Quimby. Any Alder Douglas?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I concur with my colleague from the 29th Ward. I'm just a little leery about where they're going to be putting that salt. I believe we're going to be getting some answers from that concern. But being that the community has already been engaged in this project, I'm for it.
I mean, if I may,
Alderman Gay.
I mean, we can, you know, this is going to a first reading, second reading, whatever. You know, we can ask them, where do they think the soil is going to go to? Like, we can keep in that communication if we want that kind of communication from that team, right? That's what we should do. We should, through the chair, if we can continue that conversation where the salt will be going. By the way of communication of email as we go through the process.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you. Thank you, Alderman Gay.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions on the Mill River District? All in favor? Aye. Our next and last item is the Floyd Little item.
I move
Alderman Gay.
I move that we move this item.
Second.
The item has been moved in second. Discussion.
I know that there was a request.
Alderman Denton.
I know that there was a request that we discharge it so that they could expedite it.
Okay, thank you. Renata?
I think it's a good idea. Sports saves lives. You know, my daughter, she goes to law, she run track. A lot of my family ran track, and it provides opportunities for scholarships for our youth, and it just gives them an opportunity to do what they're good at. So I think this is a great idea.
Okay. Alderman Gay.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I like the fact that they're putting the money to restore the roof, restore the locker rooms, restore the safety part of this. I think they're being very wise and intentional where they're putting this money at. And Alder Bedente and Alder Douglas asked some really good questions in reference to revenue, right? Like we want some big ticket items to come in, right? Because ultimately we want to get some money, right? So we can load these taxes for our community's sake. So, you know, y'all right in line where I'm at. I feel the same way about, you know, what you guys are saying about what does the revenue look like. So I think what we can do through the chair is ask that that we put this on UC.
Okay, thank you, Alderman Gay. Any other questions, comments? So,
It's on you, Madam
okay.
Chair.
I
It's your show.
definitely.
You're the last say.
Thank you, Alderman Gay. So I too concur with all my colleagues here. 165 years that they're going to be celebrating and standing strong and stronger as they accept this money and build. So absolutely, I am in full agreement that we move this through UC items so that we don't hold up any of our students with the fall season upon us soon. So thank you all. All those in favor?
Aye.
Madam Chair, you also have to ask.
All opposed? Abstentions? The ayes are carried.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting
Discussion.
is adjourned.
What? Yeah, I saw it. Girl, you called me and